A lot of people that I talk to, they're more familiar with straight line depreciation. I think it's a lot easier to wrap your mind around that. But could you help us understand? So question that came in, what's the difference between what you're doing and the straight line depreciation method? So could you kind of help us understand how you're able to go from having that tax liability of a couple $100,000s potentially, and compressing that down and being able to write off so much?
Sure. So when you purchase a property, part of the purchase price goes to the building and part of it goes to the land. So now when we talk about the straight line depreciation, so when we talk about depreciation, we have to take land out of the equation because land's not depreciable. So let's use an example of someone that purchases a property for $1 million. Let's say 800,000 of that goes to the building and the rest goes to the land. So 200,000 goes to the land. Now, without doing cost segregation study, what's going to happen is that building's going to be depreciated. Let's say it's a commercial property. So that building will be depreciated over 39 years. So if you divide 800,000 by 39 years, each year for the next 39 years, you have about 25,000 you can use to reduce your tax liability. And that's using that straight line depreciation method that you mentioned a second ago. Now, if you do a cost segregation study, what it does is it literally breaks out that building into all the components that were used to construct that building, right? The floor walls, the roof, the flooring, the electrical, the plumbing. So so that's what the engineering study does. So after it breaks out the building into all those different components, you're going to end up with, if this property was purchased before September 27th, 2017, and then I'll explain more about that date in a second. Then you're going to have these components divided into 3 buckets. Personal property that can be depreciated faster in, let's say, 5 years. So anything inside the building, that could be, what we would be taking a look at would be, carpet or the flooring, the decorative lighting, certain portions of the electrical and the plumbing. Those we're going to be identifying personal property that can be depreciated over 5 years versus 39 years. And what that means is, instead of waiting 39 years to get all that depreciation, there's a significant amount of depreciation you can accelerate that you can use now versus having to wait that 39 years. And then outside the building, we're going to be looking at land improvements that can be depreciated over 15 years. And that would include things like wheel stumps, bollards, asphalt, landscaping, things like that. So you're going to have these 3 buckets, components that can be depreciated over 5 years, 15 years, and then everything else is going to remain in 39 years. So basically, that 5 and 15-year assets that can be depreciated faster, you can choose to not be on a straight line depreciation method, and you can accelerate the depreciation on those assets that can be depreciated faster. So you can use more of that you can use that accelerated depreciation now versus having to wait a long time in order to reduce your taxes.
That's pretty huge. So instead of waiting the 39 years, you can compress that, or a portion of that, down to 15 years or 5 years.
Right. And typically we can with a cost segregation study, it's anywhere between 20 to 40% that you can move to a faster depreciation schedule.